Hi, it's Makeda here. We're encountering spirit today with Denbysheather. I'm just going to be waiting until we get some viewers and until she comes on and we can start the interview. As usual, we're talking spirit and finding out how spirit is working in the lives of ordinary people. You know, we all have a story, and encountering spirit is finding out about how that story relates to inspiration, imagination, and particularly about at the times and how spirit is 100% affecting our decisions right now, and what spirit is for people. So I'm going to just look at inviting Denby in now, so just bear with me. Here we go. Let's see. As usual, it's all happening. The energies right now, and the technology is feeling it. Okay, so let me just try. What are you doing? Okay, done and done. Okay, just bear with me guys, because I can't actually see the screen now. Okay, Spirit, we're just going to take that as energy coming in while my phone... I'm literally tapping the screen to move and it's not feeling my energy. Okay, here we go. Yay! Okay, so back here we are, just waiting again for Denby. We're going to be talking about her yoga spirit journeys, what she's been up to in the last year, and what she's kind of feeling to create in the future. Having a look at her page. I don't actually know Denby, which is really awesome. Though she has been in my awareness for a little while. We've had some mutual friends in the kind of consciousness movement, the spiritual movement here in Sydney, and she's been in my space. I've been following her for a little while, and why I've asked her today to be on the show is because I'm really inspired by her risk taking about what she's creating, and really feeling the truth in what she's bringing into the world. So I want to know about how she's doing that, what gives her the courage particularly to move into that space of listening to spirit. And so, as usual guys, if you have any questions for myself or Denby, if you can pop them in the comments and we can answer them, even if it's after the show. I will be giving, and Denby will be also giving her details if you'd like to contact her as well, to know more about, today we're going to be talking about, how, I suppose, spirit is in the places and how we can heal through visiting and connecting to the land, and what experiences we can have when we kind of quiet ourselves enough to observe that which is around us. So, here we go. It's all happening. We've got some viewers happening. So I hope I did tag Denby. I hope she's got that. If you'd like to say hi in the comments. Seems like there's a bit of a delay. That's okay. Oh, here we go. Denby, if you're on your laptop or computer, then I can't invite you in. You have to be using a mobile device, and then we can share the video. So if you can jump on a mobile device, I'll just wait. No rush. Linear time doesn't exist in these interviews. So just if you'd like to just sign on the mobile device, because I can't. I've tagged you, but I can't invite you in, unfortunately. When you tag in, on the mobile device, it will actually give you an option to request video, and then we can start our convo. But yeah, so what on this page, as soon as you log in, so this is, this is a little tip, a little IT tip for anybody out there as well. So if you want to do these Facebook Lives and invite people in, you go to your page, and so the viewer will go to your page, and you'll see the video. Denby, if you view the video on your mobile, you can actually request, or I'll be able to invite your video to be broadcasted as live as I'm talking. So what I might do while I'm here and while we're waiting, and just here's another technical tip. If you have a computer, you have the broadcast on your video. So now I'm going to go to my computer, and I'm going to go onto my page and then share that amongst my friends and amongst my personal page, so that people can start watching, and that will be shared live. Oh yay! Okay, cool. So we've got Denby now, and she's on the mobile. Yay! I can tell because she's popped up on my screen. Now I can invite her in. Let's go. I'm going to add her in. Woohoo! Hey, oh look. See, it's not hard. Technology. As I say that, okay, how do I get back? Spirit! Okay.
Hello!
Yay! Denby. Oh my gosh. Here
Oh
we
my
are.
God. So blonde.
We made it. November.
Very
11.
very ordinary person.
Oh my gosh, the month of 11 in 2018, all adding up to 11. We made it in this vibration. Like, can you believe it?
Somebody is orchestrating, most definitely, because I am on another plane today, my love. I apologize to you and everybody for my technical inconsistency.
Look, it happens if you go and watch the other two videos. It happened every time.
There you go. I do have a tendency to blow computers up and to turn things on and off randomly. So if that happens, then I'm just warning you.
I haven't been able to wear a watch since I was 18. So
yeah, there you go.
Yep. Look, my love, I am so excited to have you. Before you came on, I was just explaining to everybody how, we've never met. And
I know.
yet, for some reason, you've been in my energetic field. I've been watching your journey, and I can just tell that there's a story behind what you're creating and where you've been.
Yep, there's a few.
I just want to know your story. Like, I want to know how you got here, how spirit moved you to take this risk. I literally, and this is no word of a lie, looked up your page about an hour and a half ago, looked up your spirit journeys, and I could tell that there was something that pulled you to be there in those spaces. I just want to know who you are, Denby. So please tell me, and the viewers, who you are.
Well, who I am at this moment, because that's obviously always constantly evolving and expanding, obviously. Yeah. Where do I start? Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years have been a big rebranding window for me, having moved from being a yoga teacher and then doing shamanic work to being a shamanic therapist, doing a bit of yoga on the side and all these other things that I do. It's been a big one. Yep, massive. And then I have a dear friend who's a marketing type of person, and whilst I've resisted a lot of that for quite a few years, it's just the world that we live in now. So she convinced me to brand myself as my name, because obviously there's only one of me, just as there was only one of you, and that tends to stand out. Can
I ask you something? Because I felt this for me, and it was something that really, it was an energy that I really had to overcome when I had to take ownership of who I was in my name, and the power of owning that uniqueness, so that you arrived. Yep. The power of you arrived despite yourself. How did that change?
Yeah, totally. And how'd that change? Well, it's funny because when I was younger, I hated my name. I hated Denby because it was different. And, you know, I was just this mousy, and I've been working on this for years, and it's funnily just come up again with this Scorpio new moon, of course, of just how different, you know, I know it's been a biggie, just how different and sort of almost just not a nerd, but just out of the group of cool people that I was when I was at school. You know,
Wow.
all the way through,
Yeah.
like, because I was so different. I was mousy. I had freckles. There was nothing. I wasn't one of the girls that had the long blonde hair, the boobs. I didn't develop early, all that stuff.
You were ordinary human, Denby. You were an ordinary.
I was ordinary human being. Exactly, and there's many of us that, you know, that can relate to that. But it was, and then I felt like an outsider quite a lot of that time at school and being different. And I didn't excel at sports. I mean, I did it all, but I wasn't like a sports freak. I was academically just consistent and did really well. But I was persevered. But I was kind of like, if I had a choice, it was always animals and nature or humans. It was always animals and nature. And that's been a grounding force for me, and I still do prefer a lot of a lot of people.
Denby, I just have to stop you there, because one of the most impressive things that I saw when I was doing research on you was this beautiful whale picture. Oh my God. And I could tell that in that moment, the heart of the whale and the heart of you were one. And I not like, when you mentioned to me about how you have this connection to animals and nature, I saw that in that picture. I saw the communication and the energy relationship, you know, and I see a lot, and I speak to a lot of people, you know, but you know, I haven't seen that for a long time, you know, so I want to commend, you know, the work that you must have done to get to that.
Yeah, thanks, Diane. It's beautiful.
It would have started, you know, back then when you chose that love.
Totally. And at the beginnings of being able to, because I believe that we all can communicate with animals, and some of us are just awakening to that. But and as a species, we had that ability. I mean, I don't know I have a few ideas, but I'll share those when I download more information about it. But there was one bright spark many moons ago that decided that when he was communicating with animals, that animals could be something that he could take advantage of, that he could be superior to and use to his own advantage, basically. And so in that moment, energetically, all of humanity lost the ability to actually speak to an animal in its own language and understand it. And I've got goosebumps all the way through my body every time I talk about this. So, and since that point in time, whenever that was,
I just have to stop you for a minute, because as I'm connecting to you, I've had to go out and get a cigarette. I've had to come back. I have to now start, you know, using tobacco, because I can feel, you know, that shamanic nature coming through, you know, and look, you know, as an ordinary mousy brown girl, just loving natures and animals, you know, you're not some shaman, you're not some person in the jungle. You're here in Australia, yet your ancestry and something about you is saying that this is who you are.
Yeah, definitely. And we're all on that path in our own ways, I believe. And certain things happen during our life that we co-create. Some things happen out of the blue, but they're still meant to happen. We're still manifesting that. So it has been, you know, and I'll be turning the big 50 next year. So I've been around for a while. And I've done,
half a century of knowledge and wisdom. That's ridiculous.
I know, it's a bit freaky. Can't believe I just admitted it publicly. But anyway, there it is. So
no, you have to admit it. You know,
hopefully I still look youthful.
You know.
Yeah. No, it's just a number. It's been a journey, and it will continue to be. But I think I started off when I was younger connecting with human spirits, and then once that ability developed and I trusted that, and I wasn't, of course, at the beginning freaked out about it, then it naturally evolved to being able to actually spend time with animals and listening to that. And the pinnacle, of course, is what I do now with the whales, which is just mind-bending.
Incredible.
And so you know, it's just so much humility and gratitude and love there that I can't really sort of put into words.
Yeah. Okie doke. So
I'm just noticing everybody. Hi, everybody.
I know.
I just want to say hi to everyone. Nick,
Thank
you and everyone.
Yeah, and
thanks for
tuning
joining.
in and listening to this spontaneous, spirit-driven conversation. You know, just to recap, we're just talking about Denby and how she arrived to this amazing, I guess, place where she's right now, doing spirit, particularly yoga, but spirit journeys, taking people into spaces where they can connect to land, animals, but and the energy around that. Like, you know, when I researched you as well, Debbie, I saw you had a lot of yoga, and there was a lot of combinations to, I guess, look, to me it's all shamanic, but you know, to viewers out there, you know, different spiritual practice that you kind of pull together to make your personal practice, you know, and then and then create this journey for others. How do you find?
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Well, I think that's really important for yoga teachers in particular, to, you know, digest, to study as many different styles as possible, obviously, and work with master teachers and travel and get that that embodied experience for themselves, but then also to, you know, have time to integrate all of that, because then, you know, it needs to come through your own words. You need to have your own dialogue around whatever it is that you've just been, you know, amazingly discovered or been taught. So you're not just parrot fashioning it out. It needs to come from your heart. So, you know, I still do that. I've done a lot of work with that, and just processed just compassionately with myself, and just kept in that space of, like, you always fight with your ego, of course, because you go, oh, I've just learned something, but I'm fantastic at that, and you want to share it naturally. So we all struggle with that, Debbie, but it's important.
How much of in that struggle did you just have to say to yourself, I am a human being. I accept these negative thoughts that keep running around as what it is, and I let it go. It's a part of me, and whatever. I'm just gonna go over that hump.
That's a constant.
You know, in my experience, it's always especially.
It's a constant.
With this year, the risks at the level of stuff that we'd had to move through, to me, has been some of the hardest, deepest, shadowy things that I tell myself. It has been difficult to stay alive this year amongst those thoughts. What
most definitely, and I can tell now too. What kept me alive? Fuck.
That's all right.
I do drop the F-bomb.
I'm here having a cigarette, being as human as fuck.
Yeah, all good, all good. Well, I've got my reincarnated dog who's just decided to come and sit on my feet down here. So I mean, he's a big part of my just maintaining faith in, you know, the veils, the other realms, and the medicines, and just what is always there in front of us, that quite often, you know, when we're stuck in all our shit, we just go, well, we shut down and we freak out, and we're human. We all do that, and we're all part of, you know, we're all feeding off that in different ways. So I don't really have an answer for that. It's just basically, whenever that first awakening moment is for you, is to stay in that space and recognize that, and not just get out of your own way as much as you can, because we fuck ourselves up. It doesn't have to be so confusing. It doesn't have to be so hard.
Know, what I love about you is when I read, you know, your posts and everything, and even as you've explained that, there's no airy-fairy, wishy-washy. You know, like, one of my gifts is to be able to translate things. You know, and so as you spoke to me, I'm just going, what you did was you found the strength of your uniqueness, the divine spark that you see in everything around you, including your dog, who comforts and gives you that reflective, unconditional love, unconditional support. And in that, you say yes to you. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And all we need to keep doing is
and let go of it.
Just saying yes. You know?
What? Well, saying yes a lot of the time, but also saying no, because
thank you, Spirit.
especially as women too, we've been conditioned for so long to say yes, 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 and yes, please, and yes, sir, and all that sort of crap. So, you know, actually more of my journey was to actually learn to say no, like no to those thoughts, or no to those people, or no to those energetic vampires, or no to those repetitive stories in my head, and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's a balance, I think.
And you know, those boundaries are so important, especially for us as females, to be able to connect to our true spirit of nurturing. You know, for you to work with animals and people and spirit, like we have to have that self-compassion and forgiveness, you know. And I see that it's difficult in the times right now to hold that space for ourselves and say no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, it all boils down in my little shamanic notebook. We've lost the connection to nature, and that's the thread through all shamanic practices and teachings and theories anyway, is that, you know, when we are aligned with nature and we align our physical structure and the elements in our nature with mother, then all this information comes out of the body, comes out of the cells, comes to our higher levels of awareness and consciousness.
Look, and I have to say,
and I've been talking about it for years.
And I have to say, you know, I resonate so deeply with that. You know, the reason why we need to return to mother is because we have this abandoned, motherless child within us who has forgotten how to nurture self. And when we can connect to nature and Mother Earth and see the holding that is continuous, we're never alone. We continue to support everywhere we walk, every tree we supported. And I think this is kind of what's missing in the shamanic teachings that I'm seeing in the woman's work at the moment.
Yeah, okay. It's imperative to have that and to remember that connection, to maintain that in your own way, because there's no right or wrong. I believe there's no, you know, good or bad. It's just what's appropriate and what supports you, because we're all on our own path with that. But there are some basic principles most definitely that apply to everybody that we can all apply to ourselves. And that is most definitely that sense of remembering to get out of this mind and into this physical body, and just trust the wisdom of our body, because you know, let's face it, as women, men and women, we've all done some crazy shit in our lives, and we've felt something, and we've taken action on that, and we've ended up in trouble, or we've ended up in danger, or something's gone, you know, completely backfired. So I mean, this is one of the major gifts of this portal that we're living towards now, is that it's actually reactivating all of the higher, clearest information lines, if you like, in our DNA, so we can make clear, trust our gut more than we ever have before. We've got so many layers of crap. It's like, you know, indigestion, for example. Once you clear out all the toxins or the little bugs or the parasites, until you do that, you won't get clear information from yourself.
We cannot.
I know, and you're going really you're going really sinusy, which is interesting.
As you're talking to me, my gut's going. I can feel it, because I've been, I've had a weekend of constant upgrade and initiation, and even as you're talking, I can feel it just going, because ultimately, what I was going to say is that at this stage of this time, we don't have a choice. If we've opened the door, the things are coming up, they're being reflected, and we have to take responsibility or drown. That's how it feels,
Yep. It's a choice whether we go, how deep we go into that, but now is the time.
Here today, Denby, is because I know Spirit has told me that you have a key. Yeah? Talking, you're unlocking and cleansing me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what was happening. I could feel it. So I want to know, because there's
Yep. When Oh gosh. it's funny because I was right. That whole question needs to be reframed because I didn't receive it. Type it down in the bottom. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. There's been many, and as my work has evolved, there's been even more strong signs. Like I've received messages. I can messages. I've actually shown things from spirit, like a film or something, as an apparition or something in front of me, or something coming out of the bushes through an animal's form. I've heard, I've had things spoken to me, and I've just gone, oh, there's someone there, and there's been no one there. And I've actually been physically touched. What the hell is that? And I've also actually felt, and you know, someone actually touched me and do a healing on me physically, as if somebody human is actually touching me as well. So, but those expressions have only come in the last, probably I'd say 5 to 7 years or so, and intensified. Just went to Uluru, which is probably about 5 or 6 years now. Which, you know, that place will have that effect on you. Before then, there were many, you know, when I had breakdowns after a relationship, or no, this is one out there, and I had this incredible spirit experience, and then came back, and they said, you need to take people out there. You need to, as an activator, you know, influence people and them up. Several, and there's quite a few. Uluru, if you want to, if anyone's in.
Look, I think there's a lot of viewers out there who have had the calling.
And hopefully it comes through clearly. So I went to Uluru for my birth. That was probably 5 or 6 years. Some people here might have, you know, might remember that, or have been there as well. And I went out because I had yeah, remember? Yeah, it was a beautiful birthday, and on the day Dalai Lama was there, but I'd always wanted to go. Like all of us, everyone goes, oh, I've got to go there one day. So I got this massive migraine, huge migraine, getting on the plane, leaving Sydney to go to Uluru, and the sort of migraine where I felt like I had to walk, you know, like this, and just wanted to vomit, like really bad. I probably should have been in hospital, but I soldiered on, and I arrived in Uluru that evening, and just I was staying. The only place that was available was like a tiny single bunk bed in one of the really sort of, you know, lower grade 2-star hotels in the whole resort.
Wow.
So I was like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm taking whatever. So I took that, and I think I just passed out that first night. And
I remember I looked it up.
I know, but I mean, anyway, you're doing so much walking around, so energetic. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't want to do that. Anyway, still there. I think I took, which I hate doing, I took some Panadol because I just had to, otherwise I would have stayed in the bed all day. And I went out to Uluru, and I did the site and I walked around. I don't know how I think it took enough Panadol to kill a small horse. So I was like spaced out, walked around the whole rock, went to Catajuda as well that day afternoon, came back, still had the headache.
Wow.
And I remember lying down in bed that night, like, you know, fucking 5 o'clock or something, 6 o'clock at night. It was really early. And I lay down and I just said a prayer and I just spoke to the Indigenous elders and I spoke to the spirits and I said, look, here to clear. And I was thinking about it as I was rock and through Catajuda all day. I was in process the whole time, asking for support. And I just said to them, before I go to sleep, I understand what all this is about, but I'd really like some passed out. And I don't know, whatever time of the night, felt like somebody really hard enough to wake me away, like pulling my feet away from my body. And I felt everything draining. And I opened my eyes and then I closed them and I just said, thank you, because I knew it was the elders working on me. And so I went round rock again that day without a headache. And I just did blessings everywhere. And I got so much on the day.
I get to hear, you know, the work that we are doing, you know, that we just do on a personal level because we're called, you know, like, thank you for sharing, Denby, because people everywhere, everyone is doing this, you know, and sometimes when we have that calling, it's like, why me? You know, the energy comes before you know, we process it, the meanings, all of that, you know, but when we have said yes on some level of form to being a conduit to healing some form of consciousness, this alone, you know,
magic.
Yeah. And you know, it's really important that we are, like you said before, aware of our bodies. Is this mine? Whose is this? It's important that we pray. Help. You know?
Yep. Well, and responsibility, I think, self-responsibility, that what we're doing unconsciously to contribute to our own, you know, success or demise, or just a constant whole vibration at any point in time. There always needs to be, you know, a co-creative sense of self-responsibility. I mean, that's the essence of yoga. It's not about how far you can put your head behind your ears. It's about coming into your body and owning your story and your journey and loving yourself through that as you shift.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's unity to me.
Well, that's unity to me too. And, you know, this came up earlier and it's a bit controversial, but I'm not going to go into the story of it. What I'll just go into is the end. As an animal plant communicator, as somebody who understands, and I guess, you know, unity consciousness and the oneness, in my understanding, and this is my, on a higher level than of this who we are, animals and plants are a equal contributor to consciousness and spirit. We are not owning plants, like, you know, like there's this weird kind of vibe that I feel that is happening where it's like, you know, this guilt around humanity because of they believe that they're higher consciousness than what is around them. I've seen that where, you know, if anything, these plants and animals are contributing to our consciousness and not the other way around. They're saving us.
Yeah. Yep. They're all masters. We're all masters. We're just in these human skins. Not one is better or higher than the other. We're all at different, actually remembering that we are all masters for ourselves, and then how we fit into supporting that collective mastery and that matrix. yeah, and I think this the separation from mankind, most definitely, again, from thinking that everything in this world is for his pleasure, and that he can take what he wants, and that because something actually, you know, look like him, us, her,
Yep. Yep.
has 4 legs, has hair, has leaves instead of this physical body, is therefore inferior, is absolute bullshit.
And you know,
To
when
do with that as well.
oh look, you know, and I think that there is
Let's not
there
go there.
look, you know, but how I've seen it manifest in my and black response of karma towards these animals and towards plants and towards other human beings. You know, I feel that, you know, in order for us to evolve, we have to really face that guilt. We have to face that shame, accept it, and honor ourselves in that, and clear. Have you?
Yeah, totally. And we're in an age where we've tools that can support us in doing that, whereas our parents, our great grandparents, all the way back, had less tools. Yep. Were less connected. Yep. But then on a lot of levels too, when you go even further back through the ancestral lines, they were more connected to the earth and to nature. So, for example, they would be killing animals, but they would be, you know, it was a whole, like, very Avatar. Yeah. There'd be a whole process and an intention behind that. It would be a ritual. They would honor the animal, send its spirit off. They would use everything about the animal and then send it back to the earth and utilize all of it. They wouldn't just go, certainly none of that shit that we see, people killing animals for sport and just taking one thing and chucking that, you know, cutting fins off and chucking them back in the ocean. Yeah, none of that. Look, you know, so along the way we've lost.
Yeah, look, sure. You know, I want to know your opinion because I am a very animalistic, shamanic lady. And that's just because of my ancestry being African, you know, and so you know, I have been brought up as a Western woman with this kind of consciousness through my ancestry. And I find it very difficult, really, to understand how people, you know, I guess for me, in my everyday life, my connection to spirit, you know, when I go and buy that steak off the shelf, that cow is already a part of me and part of my consciousness before I even go buy it, because I've already spoke to the spirit. We've had it, you know, to do what we need to do. Yeah. And I find it very difficult to be like amongst this guilt, blame and shame around, you know, not being able to transform that pain within that body, within your body, if you know what I mean. And I think that there are times, sure, where people need to, you know, do the whole vegan, vegetarian, and that's a path for some, you know, but I find it very difficult when there's some guilt around that, you know. And I guess I don't know what your position is on that. But this is real. I want to know, as an animal communicator, as a plant communicator, as a land healer, as someone who is, you know, for me, when I look at the spirit of an animal, I'm like, you have, as I have, chosen this path, and I honor you in that. Thank you for being part of it. That's that's how I see it. How do you see it?
Yeah. It's a massive topic. It's very controversial. I just to reiterate. It's, for me personally, I go through phases, and I'm not in one at the moment, but I go through phases of sometimes needing meat, and I know exactly when that is because I'm exhausted. And the only reason that we eat meat, or so much of it, is because we are needing the blood. We need the chi from the animal. So when you understand that, there's some Chinese medicine. Okay, so if you're eating meat and you're eating, you know, sustainably grown and, you know, loved up meat, and it's killed humanely, etc., and that whole process is clear all the way through, then that meat you eat is more likely going to have a good vibration that you're going to ingest. That's going to positively influence your mind, your heart, your psyche, your behavior, your physical function. But if you're eating McDonald's hamburgers every day, and that animal's been killed horrendously and, you know, grown up in massive muddy pits where they just fed, I mean, I don't want to go into it, then that vibration is not going to be a good thing for you to ingest. So why are you eating that meat? You're not getting any blood, you're not getting any chi or any benefit. Those industries have flourished so much because
addiction,
mass collective energy has been, well, addiction, but because we've all been so dumbed down. I mean, these things dumb down people. Sugar, processed foods, bad quality meats, all this sort of stuff. It allows people to be controlled. And now we're rising. We've seen that since 2012, that voice, that collective voice, or, oh, I actually matter, I can speak up, has shifted. So, and then, so from that, from a shamanic perspective, you know, my shamanic ancestors, your shamanic ancestors, again, they were all hunters and gatherers, and they ate off the land. But again, they would use the pelts, and they would use that in ceremony, and everything was done, you know, religiously or ritually, with respect and honor and gratitude, and returned back to the earth to be recycled. So that's not happening now with, I mean, how many people have got on the planet? 17 billion. It's ridiculous, or more than that, actually, isn't it? Whatever it is. We're the only species on the planet that's been here for the shortest amount of time, but that's managed to fuck it up for every other species in that time. It's interesting. Somewhere we've gone wrong.
Well, look, in my opinion, and you may or may not agree, we've gone wrong by giving our power away, straight up.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, even as you know,
or having
look, even as you're talking, you know, I'm feeling, you know, in your story, people giving their power away to industry, to instant gratification, fast foods, you know, fast. Yeah. In my journey, the only way that I will hear the voice of spirit, if I slow down. The only way that I hear my body talking to me is if I slow down. Yeah. And so to those people who are having trouble hearing the voice of their spirit, you know, perhaps it's, you know, looking at, you know, where they're kind of moving too fast.
Totally. And as a society, we're encroaching on everything. We're chopping down rainforests. We want to grow. We see that. That's been ingrained into us, that that type of expansion and growth is a positive thing, and that we've actually almost, I believe, become like a plague on the planet. Whereas it's now thankfully more of us are opening up with this whole, you know, prophecy of portals and stargates and consciousness activating, that we're realizing that we've been expanding in the wrong way. That it's actually inside here, the internal environment that needs to expand. Another thing I'd like to just mention, if I can, is that, and it's something too that I get mixed messages on from a lot of different animals, but the whales are my main ones. And as you know, I swim with them every year, and I've just had some amazing, well, I've had 3 incredible initiations with them. There is the belief out there that there are certain beings, species, animals, that are choosing to remove themselves from this plane.
I've heard that. I have heard that. Thank you.
Yeah. So as horrific as it is when we see the actual physical manifestation of, example, whaling or hunting, or, you know, whatever shocking things that humans around the world are doing to animals, there is that, it's really asking yourself to take yourself to that next level of understanding and of letting go and trusting that there's a process for everyone, even if we don't consciously get it, is that there are certain species. I mean, the elephants at the moment, and the elephants most definitely are reconsidering whether they're going to stay here or not. The whales are doing the same. I felt that with the elephants. Every time I see, like, you know, you go around, and I love old things. I go to antique stores, all that. I'm wearing, like, you know, some faux fur right now. And every time I sense a piece of ivory, the elephant consciousness to me is lifting. That's all I can say. Whatever. I need more than that. Totally. Well, this last trip that I did to Ningaloo Reef, I'd never been there before. I've been to Tonga a lot, and I had, when you started off saying that one heart and my heart are the same, that's when that actually happened. I have that energy in me now, and I can almost sort of speak as an advocate for them, because that was an initiation I was gifted. I came home, and all of a sudden the elephants started talking to me, and they are the land keepers. They are the land keepers that the whales are.
Yay!
Yeah, totally. And then, well, that's why I'm doing Africa next year, because I just went, right, okay, I'm going to Africa, obviously, and this is going to... It's going to be amazing. So there's all that going on in amongst. I mean, yes, global warming, we are certainly agitating the planet and accelerating its deterioration, but Mother Nature has her own cycles of that as well, and she's going to do it. So what we do really doesn't matter, because if she does get sick of us, she's going to go, off you go,
human,
and we have no power. Yeah, totally. You know, on some of my really narky days, I go, gee, I wish that would happen, because some people are just like really need to transform really quickly, and it's not necessarily happening. So we need to also
a lot of people,
that's all in process.
A lot of people, I'm really glad you brought this up, because what I am seeing is a lot of people who are opening up, awakening. The first energy that they kind of connect to as they connect into this universal consciousness is the pain of Mother Earth, is the pain of animals. You know, and I feel that, you know, they feel sometimes people can get stuck there because they go, wow, and they get into that depth and the guilt, blame, and shame, and then all of a sudden they have to do something. Yeah, but this is where I'm like acknowledging everything has cycles. Animals know everything's conscious. When we can be silent, then we can hear what is needed. But first, we have to hear what is needed from internally to be able to then assist.
Yeah, and you need to get out in space to do that, like not space, but spaces to do that. And I think too, Makeda, when I mentioned before about, you know, bright spark in history that decided to control animals and we lost the ability to talk with them. You know, if you just picture, and everyone listening too, if you just pictured that time, because it's in ourselves, and you remember, you know, walking out in the forest and the animals are there, and you're talking to a deer or a jaguar jumps on your lap, whatever goes on there. And you're able, both of you, creature and human, or whatever, you know, being we were then, are able to do a daily download, to share our experiences, to say, hey, I learnt this today, or what's your take on that? Like, just have a conversation with one another. And then that suddenly stopped. That's going to build, that accumulated blockage is going to create a lot of empathic stress.
Just imagine, Denby, like, and I don't know if this is a dream, a vision, a mirror, I can't even tell you, but just imagine, you know, being able to have that chicken in front of you. Hi, how are you? I really need your life force right now to contribute to my evolution. Do you mind laying down your life for me? If you do that, I don't know what blessing there'll be, but there'll be something. I'm just grateful. Would you like to do? And that chicken says, sure. Like, oh my God, you know, that's what it is for me. You know, I think that it, you know, when we can heal ourselves and realize our connectedness in that way, we can return to that place within our own perception of reality.
Yeah, you're so gorgeous.
No, I'm not. You are. I just, you know, this is my heart, Denby. You know what I mean? And I can't, you know, I just know that this conversation will help shift a lot of people. As I said, keys, you know, and just by me sharing this with you today, I've been able to unlock a story that has perhaps, you know, if I had said that in a different way, caused shame to me, because I don't have a rescuer mentality of animals. I respect them and honor them, all the gifts that they have. And I, you know, there's this, wow, it's a relationship for me.
Yeah, of course it is. And everyone has to come back to that knowing and that experience for themselves through whatever circumstances they've called in their karmic timeline to help wake them up at certain points in their development. But I think if we just have that mantra to ourselves of like, everybody is doing the best that they can in each moment with the tools that they have, that when I just started saying that to myself years, like decades ago, it just took so much pressure off even just the human side of me worrying about what everyone else was doing. It's like, I've got no control over it. I just let it go. I just let people go in their own flow. And love and compassion as
and this can be important, because we're not living in times where we have, how do I explain this? You know, 40 years to learn how to clear and heal ourselves anymore. You know, things are happening fast, linear time, you know, I guess secular time, it's all happening all now. And so, you know, for me, I get that a lot. And to me, it's just a matter of going, thank you. I get it. See you later. You know, I forgive the part in you that is a part of me so that I can move on from this. You know, and I see that people struggle a lot in that it's like, this has to be a freaking 40-day Vipassana. It's so deep and dark. And I, you know, like buying into the drama of healing.
Yeah, well, it's an attachment in a different form. I mean, there's light attachment, excuse me, and there's shadow attachments, of course. So, and each one of us goes up and down and round and round within all of that. This 11/11 portal, which happens every year, by the way, but it's just more intense this year because we're in an 11 year, much like the Lions
But
Club
this is Sunday. Sunday for everyone out there.
It's Sunday, and it's going to, excuse me, I just moved my computer there. It's on Sunday, and I mean, I might do something at 11/11 on that day, but if I don't, if anyone's doing whatever you're doing at 11/11, even just stop and pause at that time and just let yourself plug in, because it's a massive, massive activation for all of what we've been talking about this morning, about walking literally through two poles, which is like the two spirals of our DNA, and we're shape shifting to that next level. So
I just want to remind,
Sunday,
thank you, Denby. Like, as you're talking, I'm like, my whole body is getting hot, spirit like, so I have to say this. It's particularly for the Australians out there. Australians whose ancestors who have been in the wars, because that for us is Remembrance Day. 11/11 at 11, we all come silent. So in some way, on a mediumship level, regardless of whether, you know, if you're in this country, there is an honoring of spirit. And because of this portal that's happening right now, all of, you know, particularly Australians who might have some, this is what I've been seeing, Denby, a convict consciousness. You know, I see a lot of people, they can't get beyond to the ancestry, beyond their convict consciousness. I think that's where it started. So I just wanted to say to everybody out there, you know, please, you know, this is a time where you can really release that and let go of the guilt, shame and blame of colonialism on Remembrance Day. You know, put your ancestors at peace and give a little prayer for your spirit on that time. So sometimes this happens. Thanks.
I know everybody's going to have some sort of expansive experience, and when things expand, you can't be, you know, there's no control over that. So we are going to see a lot of collective shifting. We're going to see massive stuff happening in the States. We're probably going to see a lot of environmental things shifting as well, as far as the volcanoes and the Ring of Fire goes. It's been, you know, ticking away for quite a while. But just within ourselves, you might have a conversation with someone, a friend or a family member, for example, who's been quite non-spiritual or closed off, and suddenly they might come out of the blue and say something, and you'll be like, what? Where'd that come from?
My mum did that to me the other day.
So oh my God. So that'll be ramped up and accelerated because of this triple 11 that we're having this year in particular.
Then we've got 7 minutes left, and I am super keen to just, okay, I'm getting a whole lot of things, so I'm just going to wrap that up quickly, and then we'll wrap this whole up in the last 5. But, you know, as you were talking about that, I just wanted to say that, you know, this is a time where if you have been, you know, doing the work, if you have been, you know, shifting some of these patterns within yourself, you know, saying no, and this year's been hard, but what you've just explained is a time where we can, at 11/11, where we can now just sit back and observe how the ripples of what we have healed are kind of affecting those around us. Yeah? And I'm loving it, because I've been noticing, particularly in the last week, this definite mirroring happening everywhere. Nature, people, my daughter, you know, it doesn't matter where I go, I'm getting a mirroring action, you know. And so, you know, there are a lot of awakenings. There are a lot of awakenings happening right now, spiritual emergences. There are a lot of people needing holding right now, you know. And so, look, you know, it is a call out for those who have been on this path for a long time, who, especially if you can't accept that you're a leader, you can't accept that you know, it's time for us to step up, because
that's all got to go. Like we're leaders before we can lead anybody else, but that's the calling of this. It's like, actually recognize that you're divine, Stop fucking around.
Let it go.
Get on path.
Well, you know, this is why I'm here. You know, here I am, 4 years on Saki TV. I hate being seen. You know, fuck. Like you know, it's ridiculous. You know, I'm actually scared of heights. Fucking doing aerial yoga. You know what I mean? It's like whatever your fears are is taking us to the next level, and we cannot sit in the mud any longer.
No, exactly.
Oh my God. So Denby, here we go. This is me doing the wrap up. This is me, okay, doing the wrap up. You can jump in after and do your wrap up. Denby Sheather. She, seriously, thank you, my love, for being with me today and sharing your heart, your spirit, vulnerable journey, you know, the secrets of how you got to where you are. Denby is a amazing, well, I'm going to say you're, you know, we talk about life coaches, but you're like a kind of spirit life coach, like me, you know, but your particular gifts, my love, is the ability, especially for those who are feeling the animal consciousness. If you're feeling that urge that you need to help animals, that you need to, you know, have that connection, you know, perhaps something within your ancestry that is calling you to clear that karma. You know, you need to speak to Denby about how, you know, she came to that space where she could ultimately be silent within herself to hear that around her, to respect that around her. And now at this time, at 50, she has the ability to, well, heal. Next year, you know, has the wisdom and the ability to take the risk of where that consciousness is calling her, to take the risk to be of service for spirit, to allow the shifts. And we heard the story today, guys, you know, the headache in her body at Uluru, you know, allowing that transformation to happen. You have to be vulnerable. You have to step aside. You cannot be in ego to do that, you know. And Denby,
no, you need to.
Yeah. And so Denby, if you're going through that right now, please contact Denby, her personal page, denbysheather.com.au.
That's the website, denbysheather.com.
And of course, you know, there's the Facebook page as well. Now, I'm not too sure, Denby, what you've got planned for next year, 2019, because I mean, we're creating now. We're all just we're all just putting it together. It's all just happening, you know. So I noticed there's nothing on there, but you mentioned a book, a second book. What's going on for you?
What's happening? The first book will be released this December.
What date?
So I'll let you know about that. Yeah, don't know that just yet. Just waiting to hear from 21. The publisher. The second book, hopefully, the second book, here comes the dog. I'm just starting to write now. I've just got to come and, there he is. Hey, Blossom. He's hilarious. God, he's heavy, 28 kilos. My plans for next year, I've been going to Uluru for 5 years in a row each April. I've postponed that now to January 2020 because there's some amazing prophecies happening there. So that's all on the website. And the elephants are calling me to Africa. So I'm doing a retreat in August in Zimbabwe. And I'm doing a retreat in Tulum and Chichen Itza in September in Mexico. Yeah. So these are all nature, eco-folk. I mean, I don't go anywhere that's not 100% eco-friendly. There's no plastic. There's all that's like everything with me goes all the way through, right from beginning to end with integrity. There has to be there. And then we're doing animal communication workshops. I always do it on the full moon. Everything's numerologically aligned. It's ridiculous I put a lot of effort into making these that they're highly attuned on all levels and vibrations for people. We do yoga every day. We do meditation, all that sort of stuff. But the focus with Africa will definitely be out talking to the animals and seeing as much wildlife. And there's also a component where we donate to local charities and a local foundation. So we're helping give back to the community. That's really important for me. I do that in all my retreats. And we're seeing a witch doctor while we're there as well. So I do all the...
My ancestors nearly had a heart attack when you said that.
Yeah. I always connect with the Indigenous in wherever I go. So, you know, I've got my elder here, auntie who's coming to Sydney. So I'm connecting with others like myself in their land.
We got to do the respect, you know. And look, Denby, I have no doubt in my mind that I'll be seeing you in Africa and Zimbabwe, and perhaps, you know, on the next trip too. But for those who don't know like I'm actually doing a Hawaiian mythological god trip in June. And then heading off to the States after that for New York trips and checking out some kind of, look, there's a lot of ancestral healing that needs to happen in Boston, New York, the founding. So, that's where I'm going to be doing some medicine work next year. And look at everybody's just been called, our spiritual genetics, our ancestral genetics, are calling us to step in and shift the stuff so that we can be who we're meant to be in this world. And you know what, Denby, as I said, thank you for being here. Thank you for being my heart. I can't even say what a beautiful mirror you have been for me as just an explicit, Earth Mother Goddess who is taking risks, doing it, saying yes to herself, to spirit. Even the fact that you live in Avalon just blows my mind on how connected you are. Of all the places, like for those who don't know, it goes Avalon, Whale Beach, Palm Beach, Avalon, Palm, that area. Is a hectic, oceanic connection. And the whales come past there every year, and just that's Whale Beach. And I'll be there tomorrow. Actually, I might come say hi. Doing a clearing. Clearing, cool. and so I'll come and say hi. Anyway, that just happened.
Beautiful, darling. Yeah. Come and say hi.
So look,
it's been a pleasure, darling.
Denby, I will continue to share this and let people know that you are the person they need to go about animals animal communication. I get a lot of people all the time saying how do I do this? I've got a passion and it's you. Okay, so blessings on your journey. Thank you so much again for being here. Puppy. What's his name?
Thank you, darling. You say goodbye. Thank you for having me, darling. I hope I've made sense and helped everybody.
Thanks again. Blessings.
Beautiful.
You too.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.